You've probably heard blood is thicker than water 1,000,000 times, and you know exactly what it means. Family over everything, right? Well, what if I told you the original meaning was the complete opposite? It turns out some of the most famous phrases we live by have these incredible hidden histories. And today, we're digging them up. Get ready, because you'll never hear these quotes the same way again. Blood is thicker than water. Let's jump right in with that bombshell. Blood is thicker than water. Today, it's a shorthand for family loyalty. You'd drop everything for a relative, maybe not so quickly for a friend. That's the modern take. But here's the twist. The phrase is widely believed to be a shortened version of a much older saying. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Now, while the exact origin is debated by historians, this longer version flips the modern meaning on its head. The blood of the covenant was about bonds forged through choice, oaths between soldiers, or deep allegiances between friends. The water of the womb referred to the family you were simply born into. So the original idea was that the bonds you choose are stronger than the family you're assigned by birth. It championed a chosen family over an inherited one. The saved by the bell. Next up, a phrase for any last-second escape. Saved by the bell. You're about to bomb an exam when the fire alarm rings. You were saved by the bell. This one sounds so specific, right? The story most people know is pretty gruesome. It supposedly comes from a Victorian-era fear of being buried alive. To avoid this horrible fate, people were allegedly buried in safety coffins with a string tied to their finger, which was connected to a bell above ground. Ring the bell, and you get dug out. It's a fantastic story, but there's no real evidence anyone was ever actually saved this way. The real origin is way less creepy and comes straight from the boxing ring. When a fighter is knocked down, the ref starts a 10 count. If they don't get up, they lose. But if the bell signaling the end of the round rings before that count hits 10, the fighter is saved by the bell. They get a break and can continue the fight. The phrase first showed up in a newspaper in 1893 to describe a boxer who was, you guessed it, repeatedly saved by the round's end. Great minds think alike. Here's one we all love to say, usually with a self-congratulatory smile. Great minds think alike. It's a fun way to pat yourself and a friend on the back for having the same brilliant idea. But what if I told you you're only using half of the expression? The full proverb packs a much bigger punch. Great minds think alike, though fools seldom differ. Ouch. That second half adds a sharp, cynical twist, doesn't it? It suggests that while, yes, two brilliant people might land on the same unique insight, it's far more common for fools to just mindlessly agree with each other. It's a warning against groupthink. The full quote forces you to ask, are we on the same page because we're geniuses, or just because we're following the herd? It's way more challenging than the simple version we use today. Rule of thumb. Let's talk about the rule of thumb. We use it to describe a general guideline that isn't perfectly precise, like, as a rule of thumb, you should probably save about 10% of your income. Now, this phrase has a really dark and persistent urban legend attached to it. The story claims it comes from an old English law that allowed a man to beat his wife with a stick as long as it was no thicker than his thumb. It's a disturbing image, but thankfully, historians have found zero evidence that this so-called rule of thumb law ever actually existed. The real origin is far more practical and way less sinister. It comes from tradesmen like carpenters and brewers who use their thumbs for quick estimates. A thumb's width is roughly an inch, making it a handy, built-in measuring tool when you didn't need to be exact. Brewers would also literally use their thumb to gauge the temperature of a vat of beer. So a rule of thumb was just that, a measurement based on a thumb, a useful, practical guide. Exactly how we use the phrase today. So, there you have it. Everyday words with histories we've totally forgotten. The phrases we toss around carry stories of battlefield alliances, boxing rings, and sharp-witted proverbs. The real meanings are hiding in plain sight. What's a quote or phrase you've always been curious about? Drop it in the comments below, and I might just tackle it in a future video. And if you had fun uncovering these hidden stories, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the secret life of words. See you next time.